The war room of the Veyron command cruiser Eternal Ascendancy smelled of burning circuits and cold fear. Prince Kael Veyron stood at the center of the holographic display table, his 4 arms folded tightly against his chest, his silver-scaled skin pale beneath the emergency lighting. Around him, the finest military minds of the Veyron Empire stared at the same projection, and none of them could explain it. 12 warships. Gone. Not disabled. Not retreating. Gone. Run it again, Kael said quietly. Commander Thessan, his oldest tactician, obeyed without argument. The battle replay flickered to life above the table, sensor data stitched together from the 3 vessels that had survived long enough to transmit. It showed the same impossible sequence it had shown the last 6 times. A human vessel had dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Karveth Nebula. A single vessel. Long, dark, with none of the flashy plating the Empire's ships wore. It moved like something alive, low, patient, and quiet. Our fleet hailed them, Thessan narrated, though no one needed the reminder. Standard demand for identification and territorial acknowledgement. The humans responded with a single transmission. The audio played. A calm voice, unhurried. This is Admiral Darian Voss, ISV Relentless. We are conducting a scheduled scout survey of this sector. Please clear the lane. A scout. They had called themselves a scout. The Veyron fleet, 12 vessels, including 2 heavy cruisers and a siege platform, had responded the correct way. They had opened fire. What happened next was recorded in sensor data but still felt like hallucination. The human ship did not evade. It accelerated directly into the formation. It released no fighters, charged no visible energy cannon, did not attempt any maneuver the Veyron tacticians recognized. It simply moved, cutting angles that should have been geometrically impossible for a vessel that size, and from those angles, it did terrible things. 12 ships. 4 minutes and 17 seconds. They used a weapon we haven't catalogued, said Admiral Bren, the youngest of Kael's senior staff. Some kind of. They used the weapons we've seen before, Thessan interrupted, his voice careful and hollow. Kinetic rail delivery. Plasma burst clusters. Microdetonation drones. He paused. The difference was the angles. And the timing. Bren stared at him. How does timing? They hit our shields at the exact resonance frequency. Thessan brought up a subdisplay. Each impact landed within microseconds of the previous, stacking the frequency before our shield harmonics could compensate. It is not a new weapon. He set down his data tablet. It is a new mind. Silence settled over the war room. Kael walked slowly around the table, studying the frozen final frame of the battle replay. The human ship, the ISV Relentless, was already spinning back toward the nebula. Calm. Unhurried. As if it had somewhere else to be. Open a channel, Kael said. Admiral Darian Voss was eating a sandwich when the alien hail came through. She set it down, dabbed her mouth with a cloth, and nodded to her comms officer, Petty Officer Lin. The man was barely hiding his grin. Clean it up and put it through, she said. The holographic projector above the captain's table shimmered, and a tall, silver-scaled alien filled the frame. He had 4 arms, 2 of which were braced against a table, and his eyes, large amber, with vertical pupils, were doing a complicated thing that Darian had learned to read as something between fury and profound unease. Admiral Voss, the alien said. The translation software smoothed his clicks and hisses into passable standard. I am Prince Kael Veyron, first commander of the Veyron Imperial Expeditionary Force. You have destroyed 12 vessels of the Empire. I have, Darian agreed. Kael's jaw moved. You attacked without provocation. Darian tilted her head. You fired first, Prince Veyron. I have the sensor logs timestamped and filed. I did ask you to clear the lane. Another silence. Behind Kale, she could see other aliens murmuring to each other, their body language tight and sharp. "You are a scout vessel," Kale said finally, and there was something raw in the word. "You said so yourself." "That's correct. A scout unit. Exploratory class. Single crew complement." He leaned forward. "You destroyed a war fleet." Darien nodded slowly, as if he was correctly solving a math problem. "Yes." One of the aliens behind Kale said something sharp. Kale held up a hand and silenced him without turning around, a small gesture that Darien noted. He had control of his people, even now. She respected that. "I want to understand," Kale said carefully, "what we are dealing with. You are telling me that this, a reconnaissance unit, is standard human sphere military classification. Standard ISV scout configuration, yes." She paused. "We're not a fighting ship by doctrine. But we carry what we need. For emergencies," Kale said. "For flexibility," Darien corrected pleasantly. She watched him process that. He was intelligent, she'd gathered that much in 30 seconds. He was asking the right questions. He was doing the math, and the math was frightening him in exactly the way it should. "What," Kale asked slowly, "does the human sphere classify as a warship?" Darien smiled. It was not unkind. "Prince Veyron, I think that question is above my pay grade to answer in full. What I can tell you is that the Relentless is a Falcon-class scout. We are fast, we are light, and we are designed for information gathering." She folded her hands. "The ISN does not send warships to gather information. That would be wasteful." The alien behind Kale said something else, louder this time. Kale still didn't look at him. "You're telling me," Kale said, "that you defeated our expeditionary fleet with a ship that your military considers too small to waste on combat." "I'm telling you that's what happened, yes." The alien finally cracked. "Not Kale," one of the others. He stepped forward into frame, his own scales flushed dark, his voice rising in a crackling series of sounds the translator rendered as, "This is impossible. What does your military send to war? What are your warships capable of?" "That," Darien said calmly, "is a question I'd encourage the Veyron Empire to think very carefully about before answering with another fleet." Silence fell like a dropped anchor. Kale stared at her for a long moment. His amber eyes moved across her face, her posture, the quiet of her bridge behind her. He was looking, she knew, for fear, or bluster, or the cracks in a bluff. He wouldn't find them. There were none. "What do you want, Admiral?" he asked at last. "I want what I came for," Darien said simply. "Survey data from the Carveth Nebula. Spectral readings, gravitational mapping, and mineral density scans. I'll be here 3 more days. After that, I'll file my report and leave." She paused. "I'd prefer to do it without further interruption." Kale was quiet for so long that Lynn glanced over at her from the comm station, raising his eyebrows. She gave him the smallest shake of her head. "And if the Empire chooses to send a larger response force?" Kale asked. "Then I'll finish my scans faster," Darien said, "and someone else will come back." She did not say it as a threat. She said it the way one states weather patterns, matter of fact, inevitable, requiring no further elaboration. Kale looked at her one final time. Then he reached forward and cut the channel. In the war room, the silence lasted a long time. It was Bren who finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to send a message to the High Court. Immediately." "I know," Kale said. "We need to reclassify every known human vessel. Their scout classifications, their patrol classifications, all of it, we've been reading them wrong." Bren's scales had gone pale. "If a survey ship can do this." "I know," Kale said again. Thesen was already standing at a secondary console, pulling up old intelligence files. "Vessel sightings. Engagement reports from other species. Archived transmissions. We have records of human vessels here, he said. ISN designations. Some are listed as Falcon class, like the one we encountered. But there are others, Hammer class, Titan class, Siegebreakers. He looked up. We have never seen those vessels in combat. We assumed they were symbols. Deterrents. They're not deterrents, Kale said quietly. He looked at the frozen hologram above the table, the ISV Relentless, spiraling back into the dark of the nebula, unhurried and untouched. A scout. Just a scout. Contact the High Court, Kale said. Tell them we need a new strategy. Tell them we have badly misunderstood what humans are. He paused, then added the part that would haunt every member of his war room for years afterward. Tell them we should be grateful. We picked a fight with their smallest ship, and we were allowed to survive the lesson. 3 days later, the ISV Relentless completed its survey and departed the Karveth Nebula without further incident. Admiral Voss filed her report, rated the sector low priority, pending follow-up, and requested a maintenance stop for minor hull scoring on the starboard side. The Veyron Empire did not file a response of any kind. They were busy.